Hello, my friends. Cannot wait to share this episode with you. It has completely changed my life. I remember like 10 years ago, I was in the best shape of my life. I was running on the beach with the dolphins. It was just my mind, body, soul. Everything was in balance. Everything was just in flow. A couple years ago, something shifted, and I swear when I would go pick up my daughter from school in the afternoon, I felt like I could fall asleep at the wheel. I was not my body. I didn't know what was going on with it. Everything was out of whack, and I really didn't know what to do. I was blessed to meet Valentina at this beautiful moment, and my life changed. And I learned about minerals and how important they are. And they're the foundation to our health. Have you had any idea about this? So, we are talking all things minerals, especially the hair tissue mineral analysis test, or HTMA. So, if you're going through any hormone changes, just feeling not quite yourself in your body, something's off, this is where we get deep and learn all about the minerals, hormones, and the real root cause healing. So stay here, stay with me. You're going to be so proud of yourself for listening to this and what you pick up from this episode. I am talking to my co-founder of Gals Off the Grid and the co-host of this podcast, Valentina Bain. And here's the best part. For our community, we have $100 off Valentina's HTMA and DNA testing bundle, or the full DNA blueprint. So you can learn about all of that on her website. Everything's in the show notes. If you're interested in that $100, all you have to do, $100 off, all you have to do is put in code GOG for that. And also, if you want to feel more alive and connected and have soul-driven conversations and just feel like your people get you and understand you, check out our newsletters. You can go to our website, galsoffthegrid.com. We send a newsletter out every couple weeks. We don't bombard you. It's just a fun little email about everything that's going on in our lives on a deep level, and it's fun, and we keep it short and sweet, and then also keep you up to date with the retreats, the workshops, the online events that we have. We're growing, we're excited. We have an amazing membership coming up in the very near future. If you want to learn about that, just get on our newsletter, galsoffthegrid.com. Okay, so let's go get into it. This one is so good for your health, so good for your soul. Enjoy. Welcome to the Gals Off the Grid podcast, a sacred community your soul has been craving. We blend community, ancient wisdom, modern science, and the healing rhythms of Mother Earth. We cut through the noise of the modern world and guide you towards an effortlessly soul-aligned, wildly free life. We're your hosts, Susan Singer and Valentina Bain. Let's dig into our roots and go off the grid together.
Hi, I'm so excited about today's conversation because I get so many questions about what is HTMA, or like, what is the thing you do with the hair? And so I know you are fascinated and it really changed things for you. So I thought this would be a fun conversation to have today.
Yes, I love talking about it. Whenever anyone talks to me about how their body is and they don't feel right, and I'm like, you have to get your minerals checked. And that's all because Valentina opened my eyes to let me know that's the foundation of your health.
Yeah, and minerals are the spark plugs for all the bodily functions. So we can really have this very unique lens to uncover how to support your body in a super customized way. And it's way more affordable than some of the other testing, like modality type things, functional labs that are out there. The cool thing about HTMA is how non-invasive it is. If you're okay with giving a sample of your hair, that is, my daughter was like, do not even think about it, because you're not taking it from the bottom of the hair. You want the last like 3 months growth. So the first couple of inches of the hair at the base, but you can definitely do this in a way you don't need that much, and you can do it like from the back of the head in little pieces so that it's not like a painful or hard thing to do. And you can do it from anywhere in the world and send it in, and you can find out so much from how your minerals are being deposited into your hair, because your hair is the easiest way to biopsy the tissue of your body to understand, what's going on in the body. Does that all make sense? Because Susan, I know when I start talking about this stuff, you're like, huh? I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm trying to like go easy on it.
Yeah, I think it's great. Well, let me explain. If you haven't listened to a previous episode with Valentina and I, it was one of the first Wild Neighbor episodes. We talked about my hormone journey. If you haven't listened to that, I'll just do a brief recap of my journey and why I think everyone needs to get this test. I'm someone who athlete body works really well. Never really had anything bad besides the fact that I had to do IVF 3 times to have my child. But besides that, like everything I felt was working normal until until about 2 years ago, I started when I would work out, I would get so lethargic in the afternoon. Like my muscles were like, I couldn't even lift my arms up. I would feel like when I had to go pick my daughter up from school, I felt like I could fall asleep at the wheel. I was just so tired. I didn't feel like myself. I didn't know what was going on, and I definitely felt like my body was changing. I was holding onto a little more weight. I was eating, I was like craving salt. I was never someone who craved salt. If anything is like, give me some chocolate. I wanted salt, and I was just not, I was working out the same, I thought, and I just had this like extra few pounds around my belly, my butt, like just like why all of a sudden is this happening? And I just didn't feel right in my body. So I went through the Western route of getting my blood work done and asking for more hormone tests. And they were just looking at me like, what kind of hormone test do you want? Like, it was so annoying. But, and then I went through some other avenues to figure this out, and nothing really worked for me. And when I was talking to Valentina, because I knew she was this is her passion. She has over 20 years of experience working on so many modalities of whether it's hormones to energy to holistic, just everything. I always say she's the one that you want to have on speed dial so you can call when something's going wrong with your body. But so cut to Valentina's like, let's get your minerals checked first to see where you're at. And because also I felt like maybe I'm in my early 40s, maybe I'm going through perimenopause. I was thinking that as well. And I was also, let me just add this, I was never one to really dive into my hormones, because even though I went through IVF and I was dealing through fertility, I was also a vitamin addict. So it's just like, give me a vitamin, maybe that'll help. I never really wanted to go deeper because whatever, life, I didn't have the time, I didn't care to. And so I was never really knowing what was going on. My period did always come every 28 days. The reason why I didn't get pregnant, in quotes, was my egg quality. It was just like, okay, boom, go down this path. So when Valentina got my test results back, what did you say?
Like, how are you standing? Of course, you're about to fall asleep every afternoon. Like, she was so zapped. Yeah.
Yeah. And what does that even mean? Because when you think of minerals, you're like, oh, I need to take more. The big hype word is magnesium, or now we need to it's okay to have salt in your water. But I didn't really understand what minerals really are and what they.
Yeah. We have our macro minerals and our micro minerals, or our trace minerals. And then we have our toxic metals. So we can test all 3 groups. More than just understanding those specific mineral levels, we can see the mineral ratios, and the ratios between your calcium, magnesium can indicate your blood sugar levels. Certain mineral ratios can indicate if you have a sluggish adrenal situation going on, or an underactive thyroid, or acute stress, or if you're in your parasympathetic or sympathetic nervous system state overall. We can also see your metabolic type. So there's so much great information, and the best part about the information that we get is how easy it is to help the body recalibrate these levels, because I make, as you have taken, Susan, custom mineral blends with this knowledge, and then it's like, voila, the body can start to unravel. Tell them
It's
about that experience.
Yeah, it's amazing because, like I said, I was a vitamin addict and I was just taking what everyone was supposed to be taking, what you hear from, and you don't even know if it's working. Yeah, everyone kind of needs vitamin D, but how much vitamin D do you need? I don't know. And magnesium, how much do you need? So the beautiful thing was being able to have my own customized blend of these supplements. And once I started them, I would say about 3 weeks in, I was back to my like athletic 30 something self running on the beach.
Yeah, I remember you sent a video of me.
Yes.
You were running on the beach and you're like, Valentina, I'm running and I have so much energy. Do you want me to do a testimonial video? I'm so energized right now. Like, I just want to tell the whole world, like, you were so excited about this.
I
Like, the
know.
gift of having energy, no wonder.
Yes, and it feels so good to like feel good in your body and not just feel good from, oh, I did a cleanse and now I feel great. It's like, no, this is going to now, if I take these supplements, this is how I'm going to feel. And then, so yes, so all of it. So getting this test is amazing, but I do have a question right now for you. I have now been on these supplements for a year and they've been working great for me, but do I have to keep taking these supplements for the rest of my life? Do I have to get retested? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we talked about retesting you. We need to do that. I think depending on the situation, obviously when your minerals are super low, like yours were, then you know that you're going to need to stay on the minerals for at least a good 3 to at least 6 months before you even think about changing what you're doing. So we hadn't done that. So I think it's great it's that being said, it's different per situation. However, you and I talked about that. I will say the other cool thing for you, well, the thing to understand is that we also did your DNA blueprint. So when we look at mineral testing, let me go into this a little bit and then I'll go deeper into that. Like, why would you want to do mineral testing in the hair versus blood? Well, mineral levels in your hair are about 10 times that's in your blood. And your blood is a snapshot of right now, what's going on right now in the body. Obviously, your body is this incredible, all of our bodies are these incredible survival machines. They do what they need to do to protect us. Therefore, heavy metals are usually not going to be like lethal doses of heavy metals are not going to be circulating through your blood. So you may show none of those problems in your blood. You have to look deeper. And we can understand that with heavy metals, as an example, they can actually cover up the receptor sites. So the body doesn't have the ability to use the minerals. So it can be like your body's starving for what it needs, but it doesn't have the ability to process what you're giving it. So there's a lot more that we can see with the minerals, but it might be more than meets the eye on the test, because once we start, and that's why it's important to retest, especially if you have heavy metals on board or you've got like a super low mineral level situation going on, because that can indicate other issues like perhaps mold, parasites, those kind of things, which we can dive into later. But all that to say, you particularly are likely going to either need to eat very mineral rich foods, and there are some ways, if people don't like supplements, that they can use nettle tea, things like that, that you can actually get a lot of minerals from naturally. But you have to be really diligent about doing that every day in order to get your mineral levels up, because you got to be consistent about it. But for you, your macro and micronutrients categories, well, especially your mineral section, was in the red in your DNA blueprint. So that means that your body, and that's really cool that we could see that for you, your body is going to likely need ongoing support with minerals for optimal health. And what we find is that just because you have an issue or you're in the red in a particular category in your DNA test doesn't mean that you're going to have that issue presenting right now. But when you have a triggering factor, which could be perimenopause coming on, let's just call it, or stress of any sort, like these different kinds of lifestyle factors can trigger the body, and these weak points that are there waiting to be triggered are going to need some support. And once you know how to support those things, and that's the beautiful thing about the DNA testing is you can see that bigger picture, but the mineral testing gives us like what's going on right now in like the last 3 to 6 months, as I was saying. It's really profound. And this modality has been around since the 50s. So Dr. Paul Eck, he's a biochemist, and he came up with all these, like what it means for these imbalances and deficiencies in minerals and how we can actually reverse the onset of different diseases and things like that. There's a lot of science that helps, like a lot of alternative medicine practitioners are using minerals and the mineral status of the body to help turn things around because, as I said, they are the spark plugs for all these bodily functions. So if you don't have the foundational nutrients, think about a plant growing in the soil. If the nutrients are not in the soil, it doesn't matter if you give it everything else it needs. If it doesn't have the nutrients, it's not going to be able to grow and do what it is possible that it can do. Yeah, so does that make sense? So I do think we need to retest you, but I also think that you're going to be one of those people that's just probably always going to feel better if you are supporting your minerals. Now, you can do that with high mineral rich foods. You can do that with electrolytes, just making sure that you're checking all those boxes. You don't necessarily have to have a custom mineral blend for the rest of your life, is what I want to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's always easier, I think. Yes, I want to eat the mineral rich foods, but it's always easier just pop a pill.
Yeah, it's especially easier to just have one supplement to take with everything in it.
Yes.
That you don't have to think, okay, I need to get more of this and I'm running out of that, or how many of these do I take? It's just like there for you and ready for your body.
And that's why it's such a great way to start. And because I know a lot of us who are listening are also going through the phase of hormones too. Do minerals affect your hormones? As you did say, like, like I'm going through perimenopause, so my minerals might be more affected. Is that if someone is really in a place of trying to get pregnant or going through perimenopause, menopause, would you still recommend them getting their minerals done first, or is it just go get your hormones checked?
Yeah, I think there are hormone ratios, like mineral ratios, that would indicate what's going on with the hormones. So this can be a great addition to anything else that they're already doing or wanting to do. And I also offer, there's little tests that you can like essentially pee on a stick at home and get real-time information to track your hormones to see what your different levels are doing throughout the month. And that can be an indication. But at the end of the day, with all that information, what's going to need to change usually is, because this is like more root cause, we're going like down into the root when we look at minerals, because yes, you can get, and I know you and I have had this conversation, you can give yourself different, even like hormone replacement therapy, things like that that people go in for. Your body is not going to have what it needs to process all of that. You're giving yourself what it, at the core, the building blocks of what it needs when you're looking at your minerals. So no matter what you're going through, this can be extremely helpful and supportive for the body. And I truly think it's where everybody should start anyways. And then obviously getting your foundational needs met, which we talk about as well in the mineral blueprint, is like, what are those lifestyle and nutritional tips based on your metabolic type and your mineral ratios? So you get very specific recommendations for what's going on in your body at that time. And the other thing, and we can dive into this another conversation, is gut. The gut and the hormone connection is pretty profound. There's more and more research coming out about that. So that's the second place that I usually go. Because even if we don't have presenting symptoms, like 80% of Americans have leaky guts. So getting the gut in check and getting the minerals in check is like foundational for me with every client, just making sure that those two things are in order. And then we can go from there, because there's so many things, from peptides that can work magic, people are hearing about, to all kinds of different superfoods and protocols and things that you can dive into. But if you're not getting these foundational things checked off, then those things are only going to work so long. You might get a little boost. I think that's what was happening with you, Susan, is you were like trying all these things that can do great things for people. But it's like you would get a little bit of a relief or benefit, and then your body would go back into, but I'm not getting my root needs met. Does that make sense? Yeah.
For sure. Yes. Yeah. Is there anything else? I think the number one thing is just go get your minerals checked, and you have Valentina right here for you. Oh, and the cool thing is that within our community, since Valentina is one of the co-founders, we talk a lot about all of this, because as we keep on diving into the roots of who we are, the roots of what is going to define our soul's purpose, and all of the good stuff in life, and being able to live wildly free, one of the roots is our health. Your body can't do what it needs. You can't do what you need to do if your body is not working the way it needs to work. So that's why this is just so important. And if you want any information on this, we'll have all of this information for sure in the show notes for you. Was there anything else you wanted to mention before we go?
I did want to say though that, I think that like big gap between being able to live the life that you feel is meant for you, in whatever way that gap is showing up, whether it be a career, relationship, like whatever way you're really craving growth right now, if your body isn't able to support that, it's harder to have that, to take that aligned action. It's harder to have the energy to put towards your dream, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. So yeah, I'm grateful that this is one of our foundations of our community, is like, how can we get our health in check? So I think it can be life-changing. It is absolutely the thing that changed my life. Back when I was a kid, I had crazy health problems with mineral deficiencies as well, and I know it really changed your life. So definitely reach out if you want to learn more. I love talking about this, so they can book a call to learn more if this is the right option for them. I guess we can add that to the show notes, and and obviously come into the community and get more information about all of this as well. We'll do a masterclass and things like that.
Yes, so excited about all that. Valentina, I always thank you so much for the work that you do, and not only the work, the passion that you have behind it, because you're so kind and you want to help everyone, and I so appreciate you always helping me with when I have a crazy question.
Thank you. It breaks my heart that we're all trying so hard. Like, I was just hearing about a story of someone that was increasing their magnesium and how that threw all their other mineral levels off. Like, it's not just in this one category, but we just think that we're doing something to help ourselves, and we can be getting ourselves even more out of balance. So I'm just grateful to be able to help share what I've learned. I feel like it is my duty and my passion and my purpose to do that. So thanks for giving me the chance to talk about what I love with you.
And I do want to mention that also, it's important to trust your body as well, and sit with yourself, sit in silence, and give yourself throughout the next few days an opportunity to ask your body what it really needs. Like, hey, you just found out this information about the minerals, but you know what? You have been intuitively feeling something might be wrong with your gut. Okay, listen to that. Just because we're saying one thing and you should do this, that's what we end up spiraling, and that's what happens. Your body gets messed up because you're listening like that. This is educated. This is important information, and Valentina knows what she's talking about. She's educated on this. However, it is extremely important to also be still with yourself and listen to what your body's telling you too.
Yeah, totally. Because we have the most answers within if we can listen to that. We know what's right for us. So yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's so, practice what we preach there. That is so important as well to both of us. So
yes. All right.
Thank you again, everybody, for listening in. And I look forward to continuing this conversation as always.
Thank you for joining us on the Gals Off the Grid podcast. If this episode resonated with you, take a moment to breathe it in, ground yourself, and carry this wisdom into your daily life. Remember, true freedom begins when you reconnect with yourself, with nature, and with the community that lifts you higher.
If you loved this conversation, share it with a fellow high-frequency friend and leave us a review. It helps us reach more women ready to step into their power. And if you're craving deeper connection, join us inside of our offline community for so much more support and connection. You can find all the details at galsoffthegrid.com.
Until next time, stay grounded, stay aligned, and keep exploring your deeper truth. We'll see you off the grid.